You can listen to this practice wherever you find yourself today. You can be sitting down or laying down or even stretching and doing things if that's what you got to do. And hopefully wherever you're at when you listen, this will still be helpful in some way. And so if you would like to listen in a still position, just feel free to take all the time you need to arrive there. And allow yourself to fidget, adjust, stretch, or move in whatever ways your body wants to. Doing your best to not think about the movements at all, not worrying about what it looks like, but just coming into your sense of feeling and following those yummy sensations you might get when you do some neck rolls or side body bends, torso twists, maybe a big morning stretch, reaching the arms overhead. Just letting your body guide the movement. And if what your body is asking for at any time is stillness, then honoring that need for stillness. Practicing listening to your body's cues and seeing what your body needs from you right now. What movements might help a little bit more. And at any point, if you haven't already, and would like to, you can make your way to a still position, just feeling that the spine is nice and straight in whatever position you've chosen. And if you're in a space where you feel safe and would like to, you can allow the eyes to gently close at any time if they aren't already. As you now mark your arrival into your practice today and into your body today with a full, intentional cleansing breath. As you call in a big sip of air, fresh, new air into the body, filling up to every corner and edge of you as you just pause for a moment once you're full to experience that sense of fullness. And without straining as you need to, slowly letting it all go. Exhaling bit by bit as you gently pull the navel toward the spine at the bottom of your exhale to really push that last bit of stagnant air out of you. As you again pause for a moment to now experience the sense of emptiness, that stillness. And as you need to, allowing your next breath to come. And you may continue to breathe in this slow and exaggerated way for as many rounds as feels good and helpful to you. And not worrying about the actual length of your inhales, exhales, and pauses on either side, but just letting each of the 4 parts of your breath be exaggerated, whatever that means for you right now. So when the body naturally feels full of air, seeing if you can open yourself up just a tiny bit more to take in one more moment's worth of air. And when you'd naturally roll over to your exhale, seeing if you can stay in that fullness for one extra moment. And as you exhale, even once you think you're empty, seeing if you can push out just a tiny bit more air and staying in that emptiness, in that stillness for an extra moment than you might normally. As we intentionally and consciously slow down the process of our breath. Therefore, communicating to our nervous system that now is a time to slow down. And at any point, if you haven't already, you may release this guidance over your breath altogether. And allow yourself to now step almost back and up in your mind, in your awareness. And come into that role of the observer or the witness. As you remind yourself that our breath is the one bodily function that can be either voluntary or automatic. And so releasing that voluntary guidance we just had over the breath, and now allowing yourself to simply observe the automatic process that is your body breathing you. Remembering how your body does breathe all on its own, even when you're in a deep state of sleep. Remember that your body is a force of nature, just like any other force of nature out there. And so even if it's just for a split second, seeing yourself and the slow rhythm of your natural breath, just as you would see waves rolling up along the shoreline. When you're laying on the beach, you don't try to change the size or the speed of the waves, but you simply have a seat and watch as they come and go. And so even if it's just for a moment, seeing your own breath come and go, just like the waves. And even with the eyes closed, if you were to catch a glimpse of yourself in a mirror right now, just making note of any expression that you would see. Making note of any emotions that could be communicated by this resting expression. Maybe the brow is furrowed or the jaw is tense. The nostrils could be flared, or the chin could be holding some tension, or even the ears. And just allowing your awareness of the tension be all that you need right now to instead allow these areas to soften and release. And remind yourself that when you let go, everything in your body is held right where it needs to be. And so maybe feeling this sense that all of the tiny muscles that exist in the face, that have created every expression you've ever made, feeling a sense that these muscles are just ungripping from the bones and releasing back into the support of your skin. As you feel your jaw become a little heavier, the corners of your mouth soften a bit more. And even your tongue releases from the roof of the mouth. As you just feel this overall sense of softness in the mouth. And feel how this release in the muscles of your mouth will naturally spread outward and upward as the cheeks soften a bit further. The nostrils, the eyelids, all of those tiny muscles that are along the lash line that scrunch up when you squint, even feeling those soften. As the corners of your eyes just get a little bit wider simply with this release. Allowing your gaze to be soft wherever it is you happen to be looking. Feeling how that naturally allows your eyebrows to release a little bit more tension. And your hairline to soften back as your forehead gets a little wider and deeper. Feeling that sense of release naturally trickle down the whole scalp as you feel the ears soften, the neck and shoulders. As you just allow your arms and hands to be heavy. Allowing your stomach to be soft. Feeling your pelvic floor lengthen and widen into the surface that is beneath you. As even the glutes relax a little bit deeper. Feeling all of the muscles down the legs and in both feet soften a little bit more. As you just remind yourself of the innate safety that comes included in this body. How in this body and on this earth, when you let yourself go, when you soften the physical body, when you soften the muscles, soften the mind, absolutely everything is held exactly where it needs to be. And with the safety of the earth beneath you and gravity all around you, when you let go, you will not be crushed and you will not float away. But you will be held exactly where you need to be. And as you allow yourself or remind yourself of this innate safety that we all possess simply by being in bodies on this earth, there may very well be lots of layers of fears and doubts stacked on top of that core sense of safety. And if that is the case, allowing those fears and doubts to exist as well. Not trying to ignore them or distract away from them or pretend they aren't there. But rather letting them act as little seeds being planted within you. Trusting that seeds of change are constantly being planted within you. And each seed is at a different stage of growth and development. For some changes, we need to sit with the idea of that change for a long time before we have the power and resources to make the change reality. And just reminding yourself that there will always be a period of time between when we recognize we need to make a change and when we actually have the strength and power and resources to make those changes happen. The amount of time will vary based on each decision. But just trusting that we always make the decisions, we always make the changes that we need to make exactly when we need to make them. No sooner or later. And the only thing that we can all count on in this life is that things change. Especially how we feel. And the nature of feelings, especially the nature of anxiety, has a very successful way of convincing us that this is how we've always felt. This is how we always will feel. But we know that the only thing that is true is that everything changes, especially how we feel. And so even when it feels like that is the most true thing in the world, that the storm will last forever and that this is how it will always be, we can remind ourselves of reality and just the fact that that will never be true. And you can use your own history, your own life history, as proof of that. And remembering that the same is true for our really happy stages of life. When we feel positive and motivated, we also feel like this is how it's always been and how it always will be. But what we do know is true is that we will continue to move through the phases, the waves, the changes of life. And you do not need to make a difficult stage of life even more difficult by questioning it or by having harsh expectations for yourself or having resistance to what's happening. Or thinking that because you're in a more difficult phase of life, that you deserve it. And instead, what you can remind yourself of, what we can all remind ourselves of, is the moon. And in Hellenistic astrology, the moon represents our physical body. Our bones, muscles, joints, our skin, and everything in between. Just like the moon, our body is simply matter. It does not have its own light. But the moon reflects the light of the sun, or the soul. Just like our body is animated, it is brought to life by our soul. That spark that is within us that makes us us. The spark that is you, the essence of who you are. Your body is brought to life by the soul. And there are times when our moon is a full moon. And it is bright, it is whole, it shines light for others in the darkness. And there are other times where that exact same moon is a new moon. It is in the shadows, almost hiding, and does not reflect any light whatsoever, but it is still there. And there are all of those phases in between the new moon and the full moon. And we know that there's nothing wrong with the moon when it's in the shadows. We know that the moon is not being punished for anything wrong it's done when it's not reflecting any light. We know that the moon just moves through all of these phases. The moon is meant to be in the shadows at times, and it's meant to be bright and full at times. And we are the same way. There is nothing wrong with you if you are in darkness. And you are not being punished for anything if you are in a darker phase of life. It's simply another phase that everything in life goes through. Just like when the trees shed their leaves, there's nothing wrong with the trees when they are in the season of death and decay. But everything in life will move through seasons of death and decay and growth and expansion. And so we do not need to make our darker seasons any heavier by beating ourselves up for being there. And instead, what we can remind ourselves of is the reality of nature and life and being human. And you can trust that how you are feeling right now will change. Just like the moon will always change its face, and how flowers will bloom and decay. You are not meant to be blooming all of the time. You are not meant to be a full moon all of the time. You are simply meant to be human. And to be human, you will experience the full range of the human experience, which will include a lot of pain and sorrow, separation, anxiety, stress. And it will also contain so much joy and love and connection and laughter, dance, music. And so we oftentimes don't have control over how we're feeling or what's happening in the world or the events that unfold in our lives. But that heavy layer of suffering that we put on ourselves, we can have control over. That heaviest layer usually being all of those should thoughts. When you're in darkness, telling yourself that I should feel better, I should be motivated, I should be grateful, I should be happy, I should be anything other than what I am. Or those thoughts that will come up that maybe try to convince you that you deserve it, or that you did something wrong and you're being punished. And those are things that we often mindlessly think, but contribute to a heavy, heavy layer of sadness. Of course it would. Feeling like you deserve pain will, of course, make you feel sad and heavy. Or feeling like you're on the wrong path will, of course, make you feel sad and heavy. And so, validating those heavy feelings for yourself while at the same time remembering that you're human and you are a part of life, and so you will move through all of these phases. Remembering that the moon is never being punished when it's in darkness, and neither are you. And so you can allow yourself to do whatever you need to do to comfort yourself in that darkness, to reach out to loved ones, to hug your animals, to watch your favorite movie, to listen to your favorite song, to do anything at all, or to scream into a pillow, or to burst into tears and scream at the top of your lungs and ugly cry. Whatever it is that your body needs to do, whatever emotional release needs to come, doing your best to allow it to come. Because we're not always in control of, or we're never in control of the waves of our emotions. And so when you're catching that wave, when you feel things start to bubble up, of course, if you're in a safe place, but doing your best to allow that valve to open, allow that emotional release to come, because you will not drown in your sorrows and you will not be crushed by them, but you will simply release them and you will feel lighter afterwards. And you can remind yourself that every single storm runs out of rain. And sometimes I think the equivalent, or it seems like the equivalent of ignoring your emotions and shoving them back down when they try to bubble up, is what that does is it just further embeds those things within you, and those things control your actions more insidiously. They echo louder within you. Versus when they bubble up, allowing them to arise and release can let go of all of that. It can lighten your load significantly. And again, the world is suffering. It's moving through changes. Everything is very heavy right now. And we do not need to make it any heavier by being mean to ourselves. And just doing your best to treat yourself with that same love and patience and kindness that you would show anyone who you love. Maybe a child or a parent or a best friend or an animal. When your best friend moves through a really difficult stage in life, you intuitively know that they didn't deserve it. They're not being punished. They didn't do anything wrong. But sometimes bad things just happen. And what I like to try to focus on in the midst of bad things happening in your own personal life, in your health life, in your family life, in just the state of the world, is I like to try to sprinkle in the parts of life that make those bad things worth it. The things in life that really light up your spirit, that make you feel like the pain and suffering in this world is worth it for these things, for the connection you feel with your loved ones, or for the sensations you feel when dancing to your favorite song or eating a delicious meal. Whatever it happens to be that lights up your spirit, that makes you feel passionate and alive. Sprinkling those things into your daily life as much as you can. remembering that we always exist in many different lives simultaneously. And odds are, if maybe your personal romantic relationship life isn't doing well, or if you're moving through a season of change with that, if you're going through a breakup, then perhaps your spiritual life is really doing well. Or maybe your work life is doing well, or your family life, your friend life is doing well, maybe. Perhaps there's some other aspect of what's happening in your life right now that feels better or more comforting. And so not ignoring the more difficult sections of life to focus on the good, but just leaning on those good parts to as almost like a lifeline to just get you to that next step. And just, again, being so kind and patient with yourself as you move through these difficult things that we move through in life, such as loss and heartbreak and fear. And just know that there are countless other people moving through the same emotions, trying to cope with the same difficulties. Even in the most isolating of circumstances, there are others out there who understand. And we're so lucky to live in a time where we have more opportunities to connect with those people through the internet, through apps like this one, to remind us that even in the darkest and most lonely of times, there are others who have been here and have made it to the other side, and there are others who are here right now with us and will make it to the other side with us as well. And ultimately, in the grand scheme of your life, this is just a blip in time. And things that feel so serious and so important in a few years' time may feel, you may laugh at. Or especially with moving through breakups, in my experience, when you say no to a situation that doesn't feel right, that you finally gain the courage to leave, you will be rewarded with even greater connection. You will have to move through this difficult phase where you cry nearly all the time, but each relationship, especially romantic relationships, I find, each one shows you a new aspect of love that you didn't know existed. And so that next stage of love, or that truer, more comforting, more freeing sense of love, is on its way to you. And I love thinking about butterflies and caterpillars in seasons of breakups, especially because we might have this idea that a caterpillar just covers up its head and then emerges with these beautiful wings. But the process of a caterpillar becoming a butterfly is messy and long and somewhat violent. It's a caterpillar totally becomes goo in its cocoon. It breaks down completely before rebuilding slowly in its cocoon still, then to finally emerge this beautiful butterfly. And so let yourself break down into goo if that's what you need to do, if that's the stage that you are in. and trust that you will emerge with your wings. And I also just want to throw in, if you are feeling good right now, if you are feeling positive about where you are in life, if you're feeling whole and bright, allow yourself to be that full moon. And release any guilt that you may feel for feeling good when you know that others, and so many, are suffering. And instead, shine your light for the people in the darkness. Trusting that it is temporary, and you will be in darkness at some point in the future, and someone else will shine their light for you. But just making the most of when you do feel good. Doing as much as you can with all of that goodness you feel while it's here. And so I'm just going to read a few pages from The Way Forward by Young Pueblo. But just allow anything that feels like it resonates with you to soak in a little bit deeper, and just not worrying about the rest. What you see on social media can give you unrealistic expectations of what a healthy relationship should be. You're not going to be your best every day. You will sometimes say the wrong thing. Communication isn't always clear, and you won't always agree. Things don't have to be, quote, perfect for the relationship to be profoundly fulfilling. Love can be tough to navigate when the mind is constantly craving more. Craving often blocks us from seeing the incredible person standing right in front of us, and also disconnects us from gratitude. Emotional maturity is not handling everything on your own or being beyond your emotions. But emotional maturity is feeling tough emotions without feeding them or projecting your attention onto others. So find a partner who can match your emotional capacity. If they can feel the depth of their personal ups and downs without running away, they will be able to show up in your relationship during moments of both victory and struggle. When partners know how to meet their own emotions with presence, there will be more harmonious understanding between them and less knotted up confusion. The way each partner meets themselves as an individual is reflected in the compassion and patience they offer each other. Neither partner has to be perfect or have it all figured out. What makes it all work is that the love between you is not alone. It is enhanced by your commitments to grow, let go, heal, and unbind what no longer serves. It's not about finding a partner who's fully healed, but it is about finding someone who's not afraid of their emotions. A person who does not suppress what they feel and can gently be present with their inner ups and downs will have a foundation of emotional maturity. Finally, down moments will try to make you forget how much you've actually accomplished. You have overcome too much to let heavy emotions confuse you. Stop listening to the noise and ground yourself in the fact that storms do not last forever. And so just take the next few moments to simply allow every word you've heard today, every feeling you felt, to settle. If you imagine your body as a snow globe, and every word and emotion felt is just a little speck of glitter in a snow globe that's been kicked up and swirling around. And let now be the time where we set you down, let the glitter settle, and let the air clear. And just trust that anything at all that you heard today that felt helpful, resonated, or struck a chord in some way, trusting that that feeling can sometimes come when we hear on the outside what a part of ourselves already knows to be true on the inside. And so simply allow those truths to be enhanced within you, so that you feel a little bit more confidence to act on your own intuition. Trusting that you already know exactly what it is you need to do, if that is anything at all. Trusting that your greatest strength in this life is your ability to make your own decisions. Your ability to know yourself deeply and to make the decisions that reflect that deep knowledge of yourself. And trusting that when you make decisions that are ultimately best for you, that will ultimately be best for those around you as well. And there is nobody else out there who is capable of knowing you as deeply as you can know you. And we often learn the most about ourselves through our relationships with others. But you never have to give that power away. If you ever come across someone who tries to convince you that you need them, or that they are a necessary part of your life, and if you want to succeed, then you need them, you need their help, you can let that alone be a cue for you to never give that power away. And that you can always reclaim that power at any time if you have given it away in the past. But you doing what's best for you, you healing yourself in the way that you need to be healed, that is what will be best for the world. And the peace and love that is within your own heart, that you reflect out into the world, will naturally allow that to ripple even further, to awaken that same love in others, and so on and so on and so on. And so if it feels like something you'd like to do today, you can just let your hands find each other in a prayer position toward heart center. Just feel this contact of your palms and fingers to one another. Let your heart lift toward your thumbs as your thumbs press back toward your heart. As you just focus in on this unique rhythm of your own heartbeat. This steady background beat to your entire life. Your direct line of connection to the source that all life comes from. And welcome in one final deep and full breath into the body as you fill up to every corner and edge of you with fresh new air. And as you exhale, letting go of anything you're ready to let go of as you allow the head to gently bow. Taking this moment to bow to the source of energy that allows all of our hearts to beat, whatever you believe that to be. And bowing to everyone else in this space who has listened and completed this practice right alongside you. And finally, bowing to yourself for choosing to show up today and taking the time out of your busy life for this pure act of self-love and self-care. And may this act continue to heal you through the rest of your days and nights. And may you bring the same love and understanding to everything that you do and to everyone that you see. Thank you. Thank you, guys. That was a long one. There was one other thing I wanted to say that I was going to say in the meditation. So I was thinking a lot about breakups. Before two people in the chat said that earlier, I was literally just talking with my friend before the session about the same thing. So I think it's a thing that's happening right now. So I've made a few videos about dating and relationships on my YouTube. But one of the things I was thinking about saying that just didn't sound right in the meditation form, I was like, I'll just say it after, is just getting clear with yourself, not about, because like once you break up, you realize a lot of things, a lot of valuable information about like what you don't want. But whenever you do want to start or like searching for someone again, getting clear with yourself, not about qualities in someone else that you think you want or that you think you need, or like, I want someone who's like this, 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 and this. Instead, thinking about how you want to feel. Because that's what life is at the end of the day. Our life is the daily moments, how we feel. What is going, like, how you operate in a daily life, the things that you do, things you think, how you feel. How do you want to feel on a daily basis? And what things do others do that help you to feel that way? Do you want to, some people want a relationship where they are very, serious and more like committed and have like a shared goal and like want someone to like work with. Other people want someone to just be weird and goofy with. Other people, we all have different values. And so once I got for a long time, I was really looking for specific qualities. And then once I was like, no, I don't know. There's so many different people out there. There's so many different types of people you've never interacted with, and you have no idea how they will make you feel. But what you do know is about you and how you want to feel on a daily basis. And so rather than looking for specific qualities, looking for more specific feelings, like say that a problem, I'll just get really honest. I think I said this in YouTube videos. A problem in all my past relationships has been that I'm too loud and I talk in weird voices, which I do. It's a thing that I do. I'm very, very weird. I'm a very strange person. And a lot of people can't hang with that. And so it's always been an issue where like, I'm just too loud and I need to be quiet, or I'm being too goofy. I'm not taking things seriously or whatever. But that's how I am. That's how I handle life. And so I realized that like, I just need someone who not only will tolerate those things about me, but there's got to be someone out there who will riff with me and like feed it, you know? And I found that, and I have an amazing relationship right now. And I think if I wasn't clear about those things that I wanted, it would have been really difficult to find. And just getting clear with what your values are. What are the things that I want in my daily life? What are the things that help me get there? How do I want to live my life? And getting clear about those things, because you just can't control other people, and you don't know the qualities in other people that you may love that you've just never experienced. So I don't know, I just wanted to share that. I don't have a quite elegant way of saying it, so I was like, I'm just gonna wait till after the meditation to say that. So just wanted to share that. I'm gonna read through these comments now. This is a really long session, I'm sorry. Lots of love for Farnaz in the chat. I love to see that. I'm so sorry that it's been tough, but everyone's right. You can get through it, and you will. So thank you so much. Nancy and Linda and Rosemary and Anna. Carol says, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I so needed to hear all you've shared. I did scream awesome while getting ready to go to the hospital. I'm so sorry. Procedure at 12 today. I'm sending all my blessings and love for him. I hope everything goes well. And just, I trust that he is in good hands. And, really difficult things such as that. I was just talking about that this morning. When we get some perspective, a lot of times we can find some sort of comfort in their existence, in the fact that it happened, or some sort of benefit that comes from it, some sort of perspective shift, some form of knowledge gained, and hopefully better health. I don't know what procedure, but I'm hoping that it will ultimately be for the best. And he's very lucky to have you. And you guys are lucky to have each other. And I'm glad that you are being there with him. It's so important. As someone who spends a lot of time in the hospital and getting surgeries, it is always so loved and appreciated, our loved ones who show up for us and care and feel that pain with us. So yeah, I'm sending so much love to both of you guys. Kathleen says, yeah, so much pain out there. Everyone is fighting and labeling instead of trying to make peace with each other, and even and especially within families. Absolutely, Kathleen. Absolutely. It's almost like that's the goal. It's almost like that's what propaganda does, is try to break up families. Because, and that's honestly the most radical thing that we can do right now. I think the way we can help the most is by not fighting, just refusing to do so. Even if there's a family member of yours that is just steeped in, the fighting of it all, the sides, picking a side, just showing them so much love and refusing to fight. I really just think that's what we all need to do. We cannot fight with each other within families. I mean, it's going to happen. It's bound to happen. But if we can slow that down in any sort of way, or, just bite your tongue and hug them anyway, or just, it's crazy. I don't have all the right words for it, but I do know that people are a lot easier to control when they're isolated and upset and angry, especially at each other versus the people who we should be angry at. So, yeah, it's a rough time right now, but I think just the fact if you're trying to find some sense of peace within yourself, you're helping. And I truly believe that. So Carrie says, Farnaz, check out Anxiety Josh on Instagram. He changed my whole anxiety journey. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. I will also check that out. Farnaz has moved to the living room or from bedroom due to the session. I'm so happy to hear that. That is a big step. I always say that. It's like, especially on the days where I'm sick or just not feeling good, I'm like, as long as I can move to a different location for the day, like I might, instead of just laying in bed all day, let me lay on the couch all day. And that alone is a big step. So good for you. I'd love to hear it. Thank you, Carrie. I'm glad you enjoyed. And Carol, awesome. Namaste to you. Greg says, is it a time when I'm questioning? It is a time when I'm questioning everything, like what food I'm eating and who I want in my life. Feels strange. Yes. And I think it will always feel strange when those questions come up. And, you know, I think discernment, that's the thing. I meant to talk about this in the session, but I've said enough. But discernment is a big thing I pray for these days, is just praying for the discernment to be able to tell, like, what emotions of mine, what things am I feeling, or what thoughts I'm having, which ones require action and which ones are just noise. Because so many thoughts are just noise, or it's literal, like, propaganda, brainwashing things. Like, it's just, there's a lot of noise in our minds, in the world, and not every single thought requires action. Not every thought is valuable, especially when you're in the middle of anxiety. A lot of our anxious and depressed thoughts are just noise, and they really don't carry much weight, but some do. And so all I can ask for personally is discernment, just the power to be able to discern between the two, and if you're unsure, just waiting, you know, not making decisions from an emotional place, but finding that balance between, you know, trusting yourself and what you feel, but also taking the proper time for yourself to learn about what you feel and what you want. And yeah, just the power to be able to discern of what is actually needed in the situation. And yeah, I've just been thinking about that a lot, because it's hard. It's really hard. I keep saying I'm safe and be gentle. Absolutely. I could not have said it better. I think that is a beautiful mantra to have. And like I said, I went through a long stretch of time where I was doing a form of spiritual bypassing, I guess you could call it, where I was really sick, but I was trying so hard to manifest good health, and trying really hard to just, like, fake it till I make it in a way. Like, I'm healthy, everything is good, everything is fine, there's no problems whatsoever. Meanwhile, like, my organs were literally dying and I was just ignoring it and ended up having to have surgeries and all these things. So there's some amount where it's like that's why I try to say, like, know that you are deeply safe. Like, we all literally are so safe, because our souls, whenever our bodies are done, our souls will return to wherever they've come from. Our bodies will return to the earth. Like, on a deep level, ultimate level, we are safe. And at the same time, there can be aspects of our life that aren't safe. We could be in situations that we need to get out of. And if we're constantly ignoring those things, being like, well, I'm ultimately safe, then that can be dangerous. So I always want to, like, leave space for, like, if there are actual factors of life that don't feel safe, let the seed be planted so that you can eventually make action on those things and curate your life to be even safer. And at the same time, know that you're good, like, you are safe, and be so kind to yourself, and don't make more difficult or more turbulent situations even harder by, like, being mad. I love that. I just keep saying that to myself. Like, I don't ask the moon what's wrong with it, or I don't say that the moon deserved it when it's in the shadows. Like, I just don't. You wouldn't think to do that, because it's not true. And so we can do that with ourselves. And it just takes time, you know, like, Time, patience, consistency, and eventually it will just be second nature. The brain is a muscle just like any other thing. When you first want to train your muscle to do something, you have to do it slowly, consistently throughout every day. And then eventually that's just how you are. And that's just how it is. And thinking positively and kind of being less harsh on ourselves is a very similar process where it takes a lot of reminders at the beginning, you will mess up a lot, but you are already so much better than you used to be. We're always improving in some form. Lives don't stay the same. We will move through changes. You will have a stage where you're eating a certain way and hanging out with certain people, and then things will shift, and then you'll be in a totally different phase. And it will always feel strange because new things feel strange. But life is also very strange, and it's just another part of life. As long as you are checking in with yourself and making those small daily actions, making small decisions that are in support of your own health and your own sense of purpose and your own passions, it will gradually create a life that is focused on all of those things. And just so much patience, because it's rough. It's rough out here. Hey, Perry. Thank you so much. Wishing you peace, love, and healing as well. Thank you guys so much for being here and for listening. I know this was a really long one. You can just find my YouTube just by searching my name there. I post basically all the live meditation recordings there. There's a bunch of yoga classes there as well, and videos of me talking about my life with chronic illness and inflammatory bowel disease, getting my colon removed, living with an ostomy bag, now living with a J pouch, and all of those things and surgeries. So if any of that relates to you or interests you, it is all out there. And there are more videos coming soon. So yeah, can subscribe to me there. I just hit 900 subscribers. That was nice. So yeah, I think that's all I got for you. You can find me on anything just by searching my name, but Insight Timer, Instagram, and YouTube are the things I'm active on. And you can email me. I'll always answer eventually. So yeah, happy Friday, everyone. Thank you, Greg. Thank you, Tanya and Di. Oh, I'm so happy you were able to make it, Tanya. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you, Wolfgang. Good to see you. And yeah, happy Friday, everyone. And I hope you guys have a great holiday. I'll be back here a week from today, Friday at 7:30 a.m. I hope you continue to feel better, or just feel the feelings. You will get through it. Every storm runs out of rain. And yeah, I hope everyone is extra kind to themselves, extra restful this holiday season. I hope you have a great Friday, a great week, or a great weekend, a great next week. And I hope to see you again next Friday. Okay, I think that's it. Bye, guys.